Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Oliver, and in this tutorial we're going to be creating Tesla homepage using Tailwind CSS. So if you haven't used Tailwind CSS before, this is like a perfect tutorial to go over and get yourself familiarized with the framework, CSS framework. And yeah, we're going to be having a lot of fun recreating this. So let's get started. Also, a little bit brief overview. We are going to be using HTML only, so no JavaScript framework. To keep it very simple and easy to understand, I made this using an HTML, so you have a better understanding of the Tailwind CSS. And later down the road, you can go on and add it onto your JavaScript framework as well. It's very simple to use. So yeah, let's dive into it. First, I'm going to create a folder called Tesla clone, and so once I'm in the folder, I'm going to bring over the files. So we have like couple of background images and also the font. So you will be able to find those links on my GitHub. So go to the GitHub, download those files, and add it to your project as well. So I will create a folder called public, and inside the public I'm going to be pasting in my font and all the home background images. Once I'm done, I am pretty much good to go and start my coding, and I'm going to be creating another file called src. This is the source folder, and inside the source folder I will have an HTML index.html, and yeah, I will have another file as well called main.css. So this is my main CSS file, this is my main HTML file. So first thing first, and how to install Tailwind into your project. There's actually a couple of ways you can do it. This is once you click get started, they will give you like 4 ways you can do it. You can use a CLI installation, you can use a post CSS installation. You can, if you're using framework, you can go over here and install it on your framework of choice. You can also use a CDN. It's easier if you use a CDN, like just copy paste this and you're good to go, but I'm going to go with the Tailwind CSS CLI installation. So I already have this installed, so you can just, once you do npm -d Tailwind CSS, you can init into your project by doing npx tailwind css init. You can click yes. So I have that installed in my project, so you can see a file called tailwind.config.js is here. So this is the main configuration file for Tailwind. Once you have this, you can tell Tailwind where is your index file, where is your CSS file, and Tailwind will go ahead and apply all the styling to those files. So right here it says configure your template path. So you can do right here content. I will do src / index.html. You can also copy paste this. This is basically saying everything inside a source folder. If you have HTML and CSS file, the Tailwind will apply on the classes will be there. So Tailwind will go ahead, go into those files and find those classes and add those styles to it. So just for configuration, you can do that. Right now I only have index file, so I'll just type in the directory of the index file. After that, what you do is you go to the main, and this is where you initialize your Tailwind directive. So you can copy this, paste in. So Tailwind have 3 directives: the base, component, and utilities. So everything inside here, you're going to custom CSS. Tailwind is going to bring that up, and then it's going to build into another Tailwind file where all the CSS for Tailwind lives. So once you've done that, you can build the Tailwind file, and by building, you do this long CLI tool to scan a template file and classes and build For building it, you can like run the CLI tool to scan your template file for classes and build your CSS. So you can just do this npx tailwind CSS -i, then src input CSS. This is like the main CSS we have over here, and then for the build file we're going to do -o and then dist output.css. This is where the main Tailwind CSS file will be. So once you do that, you can come to the CLX and type in npx tailwind css-i. For our source folder, we're going to go to the source and then target our main.css. Then for the build, we're going to do dist output.css, and then we're going to do watch, because it will keep on updating. If we update more stuff into our main.css, it will keep on building into the distribution, this output.css file. So we have that in process. We can start writing stuff into our HTML, and right here you have the output.css. You can see this have all the Tailwind right here. And if I do something, for example, I do HTML, for example, height, let's say 20 pixels for this example, you can go here and you will be able to see that changes in there. So the Tailwind is still watching. You saw that I made some changes in here. It builded that process and it made changes to the main Tailwind CSS. So that's an example, and once you have that down, we can go over to our HTML and create our HTML Tesla homepage. And right here, we are going to be bringing in our output file. So go back this. So we're going to be adding only the output.css because that's the main Tailwind build CSS, and we are only going to be bringing that into our HTML, not the main CSS. Main CSS, we can go over here and write something and Tailwind will take care of it. So right now we should have a good idea. Let's write something. Let's write something here and see if it's working properly. I'll create a live server, and there we have it. It's Tailwind class styling already added, and we have a hello world. So right now we have everything in place. We can go ahead and start doing our Tailwind stuff. So before we dive into, I want to explain a little bit more what is Tailwind, why we are using it. If you've been doing web development for some time, you know like there's also a couple of CSS framework, popular ones. Some of them are well known, like Bootstrap. And if you ever use Bootstrap, this is exactly the same thing, very similar. The Tailwind CSS is very new, and it have a lot of cool features that other older CSS framework doesn't have, and it makes it super easy to develop any modern application. They have a lot of modern styling, and again a lot of nice feature that I think really handy when it comes to developing. So yeah, like this says, is a utility for CSS framework packed with classes, and compose to build any design directly in your markup. And what that means is you probably won't have to touch a CSS file. You can only type all these classes on an HTML and you're good to go. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing here. For recreating the Tesla homepage, everything will be done inside this HTML. Like I don't think we will ever even use the main.css, but we will see. I'll try my best to do everything in the HTML index.html, and it will be pretty cool to see what you can do with it. And you can even do dark theme on the CSS. You can do a responsive design as well in the classes as well. So yeah, it's very popular right now. A lot of companies are using this, and a really good tool to have in your pocket. So let's get started on our Tesla clone. So first thing, I will bring in my font. So I will do public Gotham book. So I have my font in here, and we should be pretty good to go. And I'll create a div. That's the main div, and then we're going to have our, what do you call it, the menu. So they have a menu right here, so we're going to start off with that, and then we're going to be creating this whole thing, and moving on we will do this and that and that and up to here. So let's start off with this. So we have a div, and in that div I am going to be bringing in my background image, of course. So let's start the Tailwind, and I'll do is bg. That's how you bring in the Tailwind URL, and then you click URL parentheses, and then you type in where you have the URL. So go back public, and then in the public we have Tesla HP1 AV file. So Tesla HP1.avif, and we want this to be covered. Right now it's not going to show anything, of course, because we don't have any like element inside it, but I'll just background cover, and let's see, and we will start typing everything inside it. So I'll save that, I'll take that out, and right here I'm going to be doing one thing. You see, when we added these classes on the output, it added those as well. So Tailwind is working, nothing is showing on the front page, which is totally fine. It will change once we add more stuff to it. So let's build in our first menu. So on the top form we have logo, in the middle we have some panels here, and then shop, account, and menu there. So let's start off with this. For the classes, I'm going to do a flex justify between. Font, I will do some bold font, and padding top I'll do 5. So we have justify between, so everything will be justified in between this stuff, or in these 3 divs. So we have that, and you can see the background is almost showing here because we are starting to add more element. So we have that down. Next thing we're gonna do is again, and then here I'll add flex 1 for this logo, and margin left of 8, let's say. And on the Tesla homepage you will be able to bring in that logo. They use a SVG logo, so we can just copy that, copy the element, and then paste it in our file over here. So we have the SVG logo in there. So let's see, we have that one. Then I'm going to be adding a width. So on Tailwind you can add a width like W and width of 32. If you can find this, if you want to know more about this, you can of course search in here width, and then you can see they have 32, which is 8 rem, and they have really nice useful ways to do all of this. So on the dock is very helpful if you are stuck, if you don't know what to do. They have the flexbox section, grid section, and everything. So it's pretty well documented. If you find stuck, you can also always come back in here and check it out. So we have that in place. So we have the logo with 32. So pretty cool. We are making some progress in here. After that we have the SVG, of course, and then we're going to be doing another div. This one will have a class of grow. We will add the another list. We have the list item over here. So before we do that, I noticed one thing. We're not going to be using the font like that. We're going to be using on the main.css, which is a little easier. So we will just do font face in here, and font family we will use Gotham book, and we are going to be getting this from the URL of the public there we have the font, and for all the places we're going to be adding the font family to Gotham Book and sans serif. So there we have that. So we have the font installed, and I don't think we're ever going to be touching this CSS. That's all we need to do on our custom CSS, and you can close that out. But everything will be done in the HTML section. So far, again, we have the logo. Right now we're going to be doing the other list section, and we are also going to be making it responsive. So when you go like this, it's going to be hiding that. So we're going to add that in as well. And before we make a responsive, I like to point out that Tailwind is a mobile first responsive design. So when we are trying to do something like responsive, we have to think it in terms of mobile first. So on the mobile, we are going to be hiding that. So when we are here, we're going to be hiding that, and we're going to slowly open it up. So let's add some stuff in here. On our list, of course, and then list item. That's the model S. Like that, we have model S. And we can see the font is in place, it's working. So great. So we have, I'll duplicate that. We have that, and we need to make it flex. So let's start with that. So on here, I'm going to be adding in flex row instead of column, and then justify center. Right here we have that in place. That's great. And then we're going to be adding 3x model S, 3x x and y, and then we have solar roof, and then we have solar panels. So that's great, we have those in place. And then a couple more spacing, let's add those in here, and I will add on the separate one right here. Instead of using flex box justify between, I'll keep it center, and I'll add a little bit of spacing to keep it in the same style of Tesla. So I'll do is I'll go over here, add some classes, and I'll do padding X to 3. That means padding horizontal, we will add some 3 padding to it. So let's copy that and add it to all of these. Right here. So like that, go ahead and add those in. So we have a nice spacing. Instead of doing the justify in between, which creates a lot of gap, we're gonna make sure we kind of recreate the design as well. So I'll do padding horizontal on all of these to 3, and I'll add a little bit of padding on the horizontal vertical as well. So I'll do padding Y of 1. So we have that. So a little bit of padding on the vertical as well. So we have that in place. The next thing we're going to be doing is use our color. So Tailwind have a really awesome feature of using color. So you can like to create your own color config. So that what we're going to be doing. So on the Tesla, they have a specific color for this black. It actually not black, it's a little bit of gray, mixture of gray, brown, black. So you can go over here. I don't have the drop tool right now, but like this, that's the color. So I'm going to be adding that on the config. So a little bit of external feature of Tailwind is that you can go over here on the config and you can add some extended styling. So you can add your own class and then add it onto HTML, and Tailwind will bring that in and extend the Tailwind style with your own class as well. So let's do that. We'll go over here and do colors. Then I'll create called Tesla dark, and for that color is 39PC41, and make sure you put that in string, of course. So we have that color class included into our Tailwind model. Next we're going to be doing is go over here and we can actually change the color of all of this. So let's do it over on the UL right here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to text Tesla dark. So text is any text you see over here, we're going to add a color to it, and we're going to be adding Tesla dark color, which is we define over here. So I'll refresh it, and you can see our color will be changing shortly. Oops, look like we have an error right here because we didn't put the string, so we have to restart it again. So I'll restart it again. In order to restart, make sure when you make changes to our HTML, you have to restart it again, because we added some on the config file here. It's our external extension class, and in order to build that, we have to build the Tailwind again. So make sure you build anytime we make changes on the config or the main.css, you do the building process one more time, because you need a refresher on this, so the Tailwind knows about the extension. So right now they don't know about the extension, and once I do the building, they will be aware of that build right here. So we build right now and they are aware of it right now, so it will take into effect. So right now we will see our color changes. So perfect, that's exactly how we want. And let's adjust the text size. So I'll do is text 14, so 14 pixel, and for hover we're going to be doing a cursor of pointer. So we have that, we hover over, it will give you a cursor of pointer. That's great, it's coming in well. And some more styling on here I'll do is margin X of 5 and hover rounded. So we have like a hover in here, Tesla hover. So I'm going to bring that in. So let's add more styling in here as well. I'll do over here, margin horizontal of 5, and then hover I'll do rounded full, and then hover background slate 300. What that means is when you hover, I want it to have a rounded background of full right here, and then hover, we will create a background color of slate 300. That's a Tailwind color. So when we go to color, you will find text color maybe, and you'll find there's a color called slate, or in the background color, it's going to be in the background color. So right here you will see they have a slate color, and they have zinc, stone, they have a lot of different color, really nice, really modern color palette. I really like Tailwind color. And yep, so that's that right here. So let's refresh it. We have some kind of hover going on, and that's great. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add another div, which is going to be this right here. So let's add that in there, and right here. And for the class, I'll add flex of 1 again. And yeah, so here we will add a few more again, UL with the class of flex row justify n. I'll do justify n on this one, and text of Tesla dark, and text of 14 pixel to keep everything consistent. So once we have that, we're gonna add some list item in here. For the list item, we will do shop and account and menu. So we have that, and I'm going to add some classes as well. So I'll do a margin of 5 on the horizontal side. So copy that and add those in here, and we have that in place. That's looking great. And again, we are going to be doing the hover as well. So we can copy that hover thing and add those on each individually. So we have that, and then we're going to be needing the padding as well. So I'll do padding y1, padding x to 3. So we have that. That's great. We have pretty much all of this in place and ready to go. Yeah, so once we have that, we should be able to do the rest of the other stuff. And the next step we have is the model 3 order online touchless delivery, and 2 button right here and an arrow. So we're going to be adding those in. First thing first, again, I'll do is get back here. I'll comment model s, comment that out, and here our model s start. So I'll do div of flex of column, and justify center. So everything is center, and margin top, we will do a big margin in here because we want to have that a little spacing in here. So margin of 28, that should work great. We will do an h1. H1, we will do a text of 40. Let's say it's a bigger text. We have margin auto, so it's a standardized, and then we'll do font bold and text Tesla dark, and then we'll do model s right here. So that's perfect, working great. And then we'll add in the next custom order, touchless delivery, like order online touchless delivery path to it. So underneath that h1, we'll add a paragraph with auto with a p padding top of 1, and text, it will be a little smaller text, so I'll add 16 pixel. And text, we will have a different color. So I think Tesla used a little darker or a little lighter color, so I'll bring that in. So a little different color in there. So yeah, we can add that in here. And then we will write order online, and then for they have a touchless delivery right here, so we'll do that for span. We're gonna fix that flexbox thing in a minute, but for now we can do this, and we will add class of underline to create an underline. So we have that in place. All we need to do is make sure I kind of like made a mistake right here, so make sure to clear that up. We should fix that problem. Flex of column, so right there we have that in place as well. And the next thing up, we're going to be having some buttons. So before we do that, I want to touch upon the responsiveness. We don't have any responsive yet, so let's create the responsive on the menu. Like I told you guys, we have mobile first design. So I know the code might look a little complicated right now, and it's better to use some responsive design right now, because it might get a little bit more complex later on. So the first thing first I'll do is go to the first place where we did like growth hidden, and right here I will do hidden. So what that do is it will hide that thing on mobile. So mobile is hidden and then it's slowly going to show up. So remember, Tailwind is mobile first, so everything you do in here is affecting mobile first, and then it's going to wider devices. So I do hidden, it's going to be hidden on the mobile only. But then I want to show up on the Excel. So on Excel, when I go to Excel, I'll do inline to show up on the Excel. So slowly it's going Excel, it shows up. That's great. It goes back to hiding. So same with Tesla, shows up, goes back to hiding. So similar effect, pretty cool, easy to do on Tailwind. Just this two line and you're good to go. It's responsive. So that's what pretty cool about Tailwind is. Already responsive out of the box, and it's mobile friendly, mobile first. This makes it super easy to code and write styling. So for this one in here, I'll do the same thing as well. So let's go down here and I'll do hidden Excel. I'll show inline. So that means if it's Excel, it will be inline, not hidden anymore. So it's hiding, and then boom, hiding, boom. So that's a great start, I would say. Next thing is we probably have to add the button, and then we're going to adjust the background image. So let's add a couple more stuff in here, and then we're going to jump into the background image. So right here I'll do div again with a button of custom order, and then add a button with existing inventory. So we have that in place. It's not going to look that good, of course, and they're going to slowly adding some styling. So for the class, I'll do flex again of flex of column, then items center MD. Oh, that works. And then we're going to add some justify center. And then it's a margin top of 400 pixel. It's a big margin, and text of 14 pixel. So let's have that. Let's see how it looks right there. And okay, we probably need to next thing a model. Yes, it should be model 3. So model 3 over here. So we see the background image is not perfect. Definitely we need to expand on that, and then definitely we need to make this flex row and flex column when it's mobile. So alright, so we want to add that in. So let's go back to the code, and let's say for MD or medium, we're going to be wanting flex row. So we have flex row, and then when we go on to, let's say mobile, it will automatically become flex column, which is good. So flex row, flex column. So it's already working. That's great. So mobile first, it does this. If it goes to medium, it apply that one, flex row. So that's working out pretty great. And then on mobile, we need to adjust the height of some margin as well. Let's do the button first and see how it looks. So for the button, it's also the same thing. Very simple to do on Tailwind. So make sure you remember what you're doing. So you like round it for full. It's create a rounded full on the background, and then for the background color we're going to do a gray, PG gray of 800, and then width of 96. If it's on MD, we want to be width of 60. So in MD we want a smaller width. When it goes on mobile we want a bigger width. And then let's say margin X is equal to 0, height equal to 10, and then text of course is white. Now why did I do margin equal to 0? Because in here we don't want any margin on mobile, but on when it goes to the bigger devices we want a margin with the other button as well, because otherwise it will be stick together. So let me show you. If I create this in here, copy paste this in here, it's like together, there's no in between spaces. So that's why we added a margin 0 on mobile, and then we're gonna add a MD margin of, let's say, 4, and same in here as well. So we have that spacing like that. And for the second button we're going to have a different background color, so we will do a slate of 200, let's say, and it should looks good. And text will be different color as well, so text will be gray of 900. So let's like that. Looking pretty good. So yeah, so far so good, not that bad. It's coming along pretty great. We need to add more adjusting and styling as well, so let's start doing that. So you can let's look at some of the responsive as well. So you go responsive, and then we don't have enough margin in on the top, so we'll add that in. So margin top, let's say 2. For the bottom we have some margin, that's great. And then let's work on the background image right now. So we have a little zoom out background, so let's fix that in here. So back to the background, we find the background, we do cover, and then we do background center. And height we're gonna do screen, so it takes out the whole height. When you go to Tailwind, if you do height, you see they have a height called screen. It's 100 VH. That's like the whole height of this browser, and it's pretty good, looking great. We just need a little bit of spacing and the button right here. So let's go back to that again and fix it up a little bit. So right here we have model S. So we have the coloring, we have some text, that's great. Then we have some flex right here. So 400. On the medium we want a little bit more, so we want to add some margin top, let's say 530 pixel. That's look great, it's pretty close. And on the regular it's a 400, which is not that bad, it works out. So then we have yep, it's going great to like a font awesome icon in here. So I'll bring in font awesome. Now for those of you who are not aware of font awesome is like an icon pack, and you can also find a CDN online, and you can easily use icon on a project. So they have a CDN. Let's see where they have it set up with CDN. So right here you can copy paste this CDN into your HTML. So I have it in here. You can also copy paste this from my GitHub link as well. So CDN in place, and I'll add that logo icon. Let's go back to that here again, and then I'll add this div, and then underneath the div we have, let's flex, justify center, and then here we will have another div I'll add an icon. This is the font awesome. So they also work as a class. So this is coming from the font awesome CDN we just copied. So we'll do a chevron down FA2x, make it a little larger, and margin top from the tailwind as well. So we should have that. And another cool part, tailwind, it comes with some animation. So let's do some animation. They have an animation as bounce, so we can do that. You have some spinning animation. There's a ping pulse right here. This is the bounce we're going to be adding in. So right here, Tesla have a little bounce as well. So we're going to add that in here. Like that. And we have a bounce animation. Awesome. So we are pretty much nicely placed. And it's working good so far. Okay, so far so good. We will do is create a couple more underneath. So we have a couple of models to go, and I'll just copy paste those in like that. And yep, let's we have model S. We're going to be having another model down here. So that's the model S, and then div, and then we over here we will have the next model, which is the model Y, like that. And basically we are pretty much going to be copy pasting a lot of this. So I'm going to do is right here, copy paste this, up to, let's say, here. And then get rid of the button over here. We don't need the menu anymore, so I'll just get rid of that right here. So let's see how it look like. So we have this. Make sure we remove some of the margin on this one. So like that. We have image number 2, so change the HP to 2. So what we did is we just basically copied all of this code from the top. So we have the background, and then we remove the menu, and then we have the order online in this one. So looking like this. And we need to adjust some styling as well. So let's jump right into it. We will do a little bit more padding on this one. So right here we have that, and on this padding we're gonna add more. So we have padding top of 1. I'm going to be adding in, let's say, padding top of 28 on the letter. And then I'm going to be changing this to model Y first. So there we have it. Again, copy paste it again, and then move on to the next one, right? So that's basically it on this one. We're going to do copy paste a couple more time instead of recreating all of these one by one. We probably need to create another div. So right here, and then we will do here, they have a model, let's say S right here. I'll copy that again, and then model, let's say 3, model S. There we have it. Great, it's not too bad. Super easy with Tailwind. And then Next model we have is a solar Model X. So yeah, let's do that again. So we have Model 3, Model Y, Model S, and then we have some solar panel, which is a little bit of changing. You can see we have auto now, learn more, and a little change on here as well. So let's add those in. So I'll copy it again, and here we will change some of this writing. It says solar panels. We don't have any like underline, so I can delete this in, and I'll write Lowe's. So we have that in place, and change the background image. Let's see how it looks like. So we have that, great, and then we have learn more auto now instead of custom order. So we have that in place as well. Next we will choose is solar roof. You guys might also be pointing out like we don't have that X scroll animation. I didn't add that in because I didn't want to bring in some external library that could complicate the code. I want to keep it as minimal as possible, so we have a bit of understanding of how Tailwind works instead of adding all the other fancy stuff to the page. So I kept it a little minimum for the understanding part of it. So again, I'll go back here again and then paste it. Make sure I update the image, update the writing. It says produce clean energy from your roof. So great. The same thing, auto now learn more. Let's see if we have that in place. So for this we need to adjust a little bit. Look like something went wrong on this one. Probably the div, I believe. Yeah, so we didn't have the auto div, so we'll add more div to it. So there we go. We have that cleared up. Next, the last thing, accessories, and remember we have only one thing in here, and then we have the footer. So let's make those changes, a few last changes in here. Again, I'm going to be copy pasting it and up here. And we will change that number to 7. We don't have any paragraph. Stories, and then we have one button only. So what I'm going to do is update that as well. So I'm going to delete one of the button. The dark one stays, and we have auto now. It says shop now, so I'll just change that to shop now. So look great. And then we are going to be adding some footer in here as well. So after that, we're going to be adding some div with flex, justify center, and let's say div class of row and then we will do order list, and in here order list, let's say Tesla, and copy 2022, how it looks like. Right, that we want to make sure we have it nicely put like that. So we want to add some changes, of course, later on. So let's do some of the other changes on the text: privacy and legal, contact, and let's see, carrier, news, engage, location. And then the last one is location. So we have that in place, but it doesn't look that good. Of course, we can add more styling to it. So look like that, which is okay. We need to make some possible changes on that with the flex box. So start off, we will do some flex of column, because when you go to mobile, it kind of do it in column instead of rows, so we want to keep it that way. And then when it goes bigger, we want to add flex row. So let's do that. Go to MD flex of row, and then items center, and justify center as well. And then text, we will do neutral, which is a little lighter color, so 700. It's a Tailwind color as well. And text, we will add a smaller font. So we have that changes. Let's see what it look like. Okay, we want to add some spacing, of course. So let's do that. So class margin X of 5. I'll add that to all of these as well. Save that. Let's see what it looks like. Not too bad. And we want to add a little bit of padding because there's no space in between. So we want to add some padding bottom. So on the topmost layer, I'm going to do is padding bottom of 5. So we have some padding at the bottom. We have some padding, and there we go. We have that side down pretty much. It's good to go. I don't think I missed anything, but I'm pretty sure we can adjust some color. Like you see, I didn't add some proper color like this. They have it on Tesla. You can go ahead and find some proper color to it. And the background color, I also seen that I have a different color. You can find some background color from here, and some add those to. Maybe this color is pretty good. PG Slate 300. I think I add that one. So let's see. On the menu, we should have PG Slate of 300. It's PG Slate of 300 actually. But yeah, some color might be a bit off. You can also do some research and find it out. But this is a great exercise with Tailwind. I think we will learn. I mean, we did a lot of copy pasting, but we learned some of the classes, like some of the classes that you will be using in Tailwind projects are like the button, font, all the popular one we use in this project, and I think it's a great exercise to get into it. You can make some new small changes and then put it in a portfolio. You made something with Tailwind, you're familiar with Tailwind, and yeah, go ahead, create some website with Tailwind. It's pretty fun, easy to use. You can have a lot of cool features. Some of the features I didn't talk about, you can also find it on the doc as well. So like the theme, dark mode, and all the other features in here as well. But as you can see, everything was done in HTML. Like I didn't even touch our CSS. We only imported our font from the CSS, and that's it. I didn't do anything in the CSS. Everything was done in an HTML. When you go over to a JavaScript framework like React, Angular, Vue, or any new framework you have used, If you add Tailwind to it, it's going to be the same thing. You just use the classes on the HTML JSX side, and it will do the same thing as well. You don't need to use a separate CSS, but yeah, that's it. That's Tailwind. I hope you guys have fun. Make sure you like, comment down below if you want to see any more tutorial, and make sure you subscribe. I'll see you in the next videos. Thank you.